Hello, Emma, and welcome to the Hayley Osborne Show. I am beyond excited to have you here.
Oh, thanks for having me. Yeah, I can't wait. Let's just dive in.
I know, I feel like we had to press record because we were just like blah, 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 and it's like good stuff that people can learn from. And I really want my listeners to get to know you and for you to impart your beautiful knowledge and zone of genius. So, in your own words, are you able to let everybody know who you are and what you do?
Oh, yeah. Hello, all. Hey, I'm so thrilled to be here. My name is Emma Johnson, and I'm founder of Emma Johnson and Co. I'm a business and mindset success strategist. And it's my mission to help women create amazingly successful businesses on their terms, the uncomplicated way. So I truly and utterly believe that life gets to be simple. We just need to decide to let it be that way.
I love that. And I feel like most business owners think that in order to be successful, it needs to be complicated and overcomplicated and, use big, long, difficult sentences and position yourself as this, whatever, when really it's quite the opposite. And you are like proof of that.
Yeah, well, I think actually, social media, which is what we tend to use most in our business, has got a whole lot to answer for. And there are some people that are really dining out on the idea that, the harder it is, the better you are. And I'm just like, no, like we're women. We're amazing. Like we push babies out of our bodies. We create small humans. Like there is nothing that we can't do if we put our minds to it. But yeah, there's a lot in marketing that makes out that things are more complicated than they are. And the truth is that when we remove the noise, when we remove the fluff, and when we get really, really clear on what we want, then we can create a really clear, systematic pathway to get there. Comparisonitis, what other people are doing is none of our business. We just need to stay focused on what our mission is, our vision is, our values are, what our clients need. There we go. That's just it in a
Yeah.
nutshell. So that's what I'm really, really passionate about. I think yeah.
Yeah. It's hard to do that though. It's hard to do that when there is a lot of noise and you get stuck in that deep social media vortex of looking at other people, which actually forces you to do the opposite, which is not be simple and actually you don't end up knowing who you are and what you do. I know for myself, I have change who I am and what I do, that value statement over the last couple of years. And it's probably last year and this year that I've just come so far and laser focused that it is what it is. And I completely agree with you, which is why I wanted to have you on the podcast. So to give everyone a background, Emma and I met last year in Brisbane. And it's like I've known Emma for 20 years. I was just saying this before. We're so in tune. But I wanted to get you to come onto the podcast to tell your story because it is so powerful and I feel like it will resonate and I want more people to hear this. I'm going to call it rags to riches story, but I really would love you to tell that. So I'm going to handball it. Go for it.
Oh, thanks. I think really what a lot of people see now, and they'll see it through you and they'll see it through me, is they'll go and check this out and they'll go, oh, Emma, it's okay for you. You have a multi-six-figure business. You have awesome clients, you work internationally, you've built a life around your boys. And it comes back to that life. Things do get to be simple if we choose to, because it hasn't always been that way. Like I live in Australia now, as Hayley said, we both met in Brisbane last year. I actually moved to Australia from the UK just before COVID, and the whole world had gone into lockdown. But even back before then, 10 years ago, I was literally on the verge of bankruptcy. I bought a property in London. I had the most amazing job. I was very well paid, working in recruitment on huge commissions. And I thought I had it made. I had this beautiful flat in central London. I had an amazing group of friends. Things were good. I had my personal trainer. Oh, everything was good. I was going on holidays. Everything was freaking awesome. And then the GFC happened. And who wants a recruiter when we're in a global financial crisis? And I walked into my office of my awesome job on week 5, day 6 of my 6-week probationary period. And they went, really sorry, Emma, but we can't continue this contract anymore. We've lost a lot of business and we haven't got any work for you. And I had at the time on my own, it's £250,000 mortgage, which is about $500,000 mortgage on my own, and no prospects of a job. So for most people, that would be absolutely crippling. And I'm not saying it wasn't like completely awful to feel like that. It's like, I was like, okay, so what do I do here? What can I do? Like, I'll sell the house. So I went to see the bank manager because I'd only just bought them. And they were like, yeah, but your house is just devalued overnight. You're now in negative equity. And I'm like, oh, I can't even sell it because if I sell it, I'm in debt. At least if I can hold it, I might be able to ride this storm. And in the UK, if you own a property, you're not entitled to any social help either. If I was renting, I would have been entitled to some help from, you know, my tax payments over the years towards rent. It's not the same for a mortgage. So I was like, well, what do we do? And I kid you not, that was just 10 years ago. And now 10 years on, we have completely turned our story around. We own a multi-million-dollar house here in Brisbane that we built ourselves, mortgage-free. And we run a multi-six-figure business. And it's been that way for the last 4 years. And I really put that down to the fact that I just got laser focused on the fact that I don't want to be in this position. I don't want to be down and out. I don't want to not have an income. I want all of those things. So what can I do about it? And I just started with really, really simple strategies of, well, what do I know? How can I help people? What problems are out there? And I got on with it. And I know that sounds simple. I know that sounds really flippant. But like I said, when you make a decision, when you get really, really clear, you get to have whatever you want. It might not happen tomorrow. It's taken me a good 10, 15 years to do that. But I never, ever lost sight of the fact that I could help myself. I just needed to make that decision.
So what did you do with the house?
I kept the house.
Yeah.
But what I had to do is, so it was a 2-bedroom flat, and I immediately rented it out. And then what I did, as I was fortunate, my parents lived not so far away. Like, I've never done this. Like, I don't have an amazing relationship with my parents. I've been very, very independent. From the age of 18, I left home and I hadn't gone back. And on this occasion, they happened to live really, really close to where I was. I managed to get a job as a teacher. So not many people know this, but I speak French and German fluently. That's my background. And that's what I'd studied. And it's just the universe. I happened to go online because I'm like, well, nobody is taking on a recruiter. In a global financial crisis, everyone is downsizing. But again, draw on your strengths. I'm a very good teacher and I can speak languages. And I looked around, and it just so happened that 1.5 miles from my house, there was a school looking for a languages teacher. I mean, we're talking, this was July. It's like the schools were literally in the UK just about to break up. But there was one of the teachers there had just been awarded an adopted baby, and she was taking immediate maternity leave, and they immediately needed to fill her place. So I applied and I got it. And it was just very serendipitous. So yeah, I rented the house out, and I managed to put the house onto an interest-only mortgage so that the rent covered that, and I rode the storm. I did still lose a bit of money when I eventually sold it, but I got my teaching job. And then I realized I needed to move somewhere. So again, as my husband always says, like, you're not a tree. Like, you don't have roots in the ground. If something's not working, you can get up and you can move. So I needed to move. I needed to move somewhere where I could afford to live. So I got my teaching qualifications and I moved to the other side of England, to a much, much cheaper area. and I was able to afford the rent. And because my house was being covered, I was able to find somewhere where I could afford the rent on my much, much lower salary. I think I dropped down to, I think it was down to like £17,000 a year.
Oh my God.
Which is about 30,000 Aussie dollars a year, and I had been on six figures. So that was a significant drop. It didn't cover the mortgage of the house that I owned at all. But I could move to an area where that was enough to cover rent and keep me afloat. And then I was just really resourceful. I just started like, I was, offered private tutoring. I offered to make things for people. I offered to support people with various things. And I think that's really where my coaching love came from.
Yeah, it's that beautiful combination of teacher, like your thirst for knowledge, because education is power, and then wanting to help people. And so, yeah, and then the rest is history, really, isn't it?
Well, I think that's where like the coaching side of what I do was born, because for me, what drives me every day is I don't want people to give up on their dreams, because we have such a bigger ripple effect when we're able to live out our full potential. So I know that my potential is here to help others to realize theirs, because when they do, they help people in turn, and they help people in turn. So it's so much bigger than me. So I moved into business coaching, which is what I do now, because I wanted people to be self-sufficient. I wanted people to be able to harness their knowledge and go and share that with others. But what I was seeing was so many people giving up on their zone of genius because they didn't understand the business side of business. That was the bit that they were seeing everyone else doing amazing things with. And then imposter syndrome kicking in. Why can't I generate those leads? Why can't I attract those clients? Why can't I sell my programs? And because they weren't understanding, they were focusing on the wrong things. And for me, it's like, no, don't stop. Don't give up on the dream just because you don't understand the how yet. That's when you lean into help. That's when you lean on mentors. That's when you work with a coach. And when we prioritize the fact that we don't need to be a genius of everything, you just need to harness your zone of genius, that's when the big magic happens. So for me, that was like, oh, I've just got to help people, because if I don't, they're going to quit. And then all of the amazing people that they can help will not get the help that they need. And yeah, so.
Yeah. My thing is, I feel the same way. And I say to people, by you not offering up your zone of genius and what you're good at, you are doing a disservice to everyone out there that needs what you have to offer.
Totally.
And that's not fair on them. So do what you need to do. And, most businesses I know, like in Australia, that start up, if they don't do well within the first year, they close down. And it's because of these reasons, because they don't know how to run a business. They don't realize that what goes into running a business. And I'm not going to sugarcoat it. It's not easy, but it's also like, if you know what you're doing, it's not hard either. And I know we're just talking about this offline, is that social media has like such a huge impact on overcomplicating things. And it's like, if you just stay in your lane and you stay out of that hole, what you want to do and what you'd like to do and how it will be easy for you actually comes to you much quicker than if you were comparisonitis yourself to other people. Is that even the word?
I love that word. I love that word. Yeah, but you're totally right.
Comparisonitis. I think I made that up, but you know what I mean, right?
Yeah. Business isn't complicated. We make business complicated. Like business, it's not easy. You're right. It's not easy. There's work involved. Like if it was easy, everyone would be in entrepreneurship. It's not for everybody, and it shouldn't be for everybody, and that's fine. But if you're getting out of bed, and for me, this is like, I'm probably unemployable now, because I am just so passionate about what I do. I eat, sleep, breathe it. Like, this is you and I just, I think, I don't know, when we met, we just sat for hours. Like, we sat down for dinner at 6 and we didn't leave the restaurant till like nearly midnight. And but it was fun. It's what lights me up. So, like, if you've got that burn in you, I don't want you to give up on that, because there are things that you don't get, there are things that feel hard. Get help, lean into that, but don't give up on the dream. And I also think, like you said there's businesses that come in and they close the doors within 1 year. Business is like far, far bigger than 1 year. If you're going in with the vision of, oh, well, what do I do if this doesn't work? The chances are it won't. I want you to go into business with I'm going to do whatever it takes to get this message out. I'm ride or die. I'm ride or die. Like, I'm in there, because when you have that attitude, then you can be coached, then you can be helped, then you can get through that. The measure of success is how you deal with I won't swear, but the crappy days, like the days where things aren't going, the days when you have those emails from a nightmare client, or you lose a big contract. How you deal with that and how you handle that is your benchmark for how you're going to be able to cope and deal with the frigging awesome days too. And if you can't handle the bad days, then honestly, you shouldn't have the really great days. Business moves in waves, and you've got to be in it for all of it.
I love that. I've probably heard that a lot before, and both you and I do so much work on our mindset and learning, but it's so true. If you can't handle the bad days, you shouldn't be here for the good days. So good. I'm totally going to steal that at some point or another. No, but it's true. So, all right, simplifying success. Give us some tips.
You've got to get laser focused on what it is that you want. That's like the nutty, crunchy detail every single time. I was talking to somebody else the other day, and I was saying that if you went to a music festival and you said, I've lost my friend, the first thing somebody is going to say is, well, what do they look like? So if you can't describe what it is that you're looking for, you won't know when you find it. Like, this is no accident. So when it gets to be simple, when you are absolutely laser focused on what it is that you want. Now, that could be a revenue goal, that could be a freedom goal, that could be an impact goal, but you've got to know what that is so that you can have the discernment to go, not that one, not that one, not that one, not that one. Yes. That's what's going to give you the clarity to work with your ideal clients and the tenacity to not give up when then those ones aren't there. That's going to get you to keep going, to keep moving forward. But so many times, and I'll bet my bottom dollar that this is the same with you when you're working with your clients. The reason that they're stuck is because they're lacking that clarity. They don't know what they want. So when I work with clients, I give them that safe space to unapologetically, judgment-free, limitation-free, say what they want. And if that's a unicorn, brilliant. But like, let me know it's a unicorn, because then we're going to go out and find the unicorn, like whatever that is for you.
Yeah.
But start with a laser focus, decide what you want. And more often than not, we complicate that because we're like, oh, maybe I shouldn't want that, or who am I to say that I want to earn 7 figures this year? Like, who am I to say I want to be able to only work 1 day a week so that I can have 4 days with my kids and I want a 7-figure income? Like, who am I to say that? Am I being greedy? And I'm like, hell no, just decide what you want, then we'll make it happen.
It's kind of, I liken that to having or going through the process of developing a marketing avatar, like who your ideal client is. And people say, well, they're this and they're this, and they could be female, they could be male, they're aged like 18 to 60, and I'm like, no, that is not what we're talking about. And when you get laser focused on who that person is, your story becomes beautiful, and then you attract who you attract, but you've got that
Mhm.
single vision, and all of a sudden you attract lots of people, but they all are attracted to you because you're telling like a singular story. It's funny, but it works in the reverse way. Every single
It
time
makes
it's
it
the same.
easier.
Yeah.
It makes it easier. Like you're not thinking like, well, who am I going to please today? Who am I going to piss off today? Like it's literally like, oh, this is the message. This is the person. This is who I'm trying to help. Like we have a finite amount of time on this planet, and like yeah, we can serve one to many, and we can serve one to one, but you get to choose. So who do you want to work with? Do you
Mm.
want to work with the life-sucking, like, oh, tire kicking, energy draining people, the ones that are going to question every single thing that you do, the ones that are going to find a problem for every solution? Or do you want to work with your dreamy ideal clients who literally want to get to their goals and they want you to come along for the ride?
Mm.
Because if you're honest, you're not getting into business because you want your energy sucked. You're getting into business because you want to live your purpose and your passion. So decide who it is, decide what you want, decide who you want to work with, and you get to choose, like nobody else. Get to decide how you want to market yourself. You don't have to do the things that like the other gurus are doing. You get to decide what works for you. So
Mm.
my framework is the I am framework: intentional, aligned, and manageable. And if I can't fit everything into those three core pillars of intentionality, alignment, and manageability, it doesn't happen,
Mm.
because then I know I'm going off track and there's going to be problems down the line. So know what you want, simple thing. Let it meet your values. And for goodness sake, make sure that you can sustain it. So do what's manageable. Don't listen to the gurus that say you need to post across 7 platforms and you need to do it 15 times a day, and you need to do reels, and you need to do carousel, and you need a podcast, and you need a blog, and you need a YouTube channel, and you need to be doing TikToks. Because seriously, like you and I are mums. We were just talking like about how our boys like are our lifeblood. That's what we do. That's why we live. That's what we do. So I'm not going to be doing the things that actually take me away from why I started my business in the first place, because my clients, like, that's going to be unattainable for them.
Totally.
They want to see me living my talk.
Yes. I love that. So what are some simple systems and like automations so that I guess the listeners have some little takeaways, that like nuggets from you, because you are so good at what you do. Like what could be something that people could take away and implement into their business to start with? Because I feel like a lot of people just want to, they go back to, yeah, but if I'm getting a client, it means I'm making money and I need money to survive. And it's that like back to basics.
But
It's
then we're
real chicken and
falling
egg.
into, yeah, then we're falling into scarcity and that belief
Yeah.
that we need to take everything
Mm.
instead of, being really, really true to our values.
There was
So
a
I
couple of
will,
questions there. Sorry about
yeah,
that.
I'll share the link with you below. So my process is add to delete. So it makes no sense, right? But bear with me. So add, automate, delegate, ditch. And when you apply that to your business, so it doesn't matter what stage you're at. Like even if you're just starting out or you're scaling to, 7 figures, the process can still be applied. And I've got a beautiful little workbook. I'll link it below the show notes, and you can go and grab it for yourselves. But the long, tall, and short is the first thing that you can do is just really, really be mindful of what is it that you're doing every day in your business. And that's as simple as just keep a little piece of paper by your side. And when you switch from one task to the next, just make a note. So it could be things like a client call. It could be sending an invoice. It could be creating a social media post. It could be recording a podcast. It could be checking your inbox. But no matter how big or how small, just make a note of what it is that you're doing over the course of a week, you're going to start noticing where there's repetition. And when you're clear on what's happening in your business, then you can start saying, well, what could I do to make this easier? So we start looking at, what are you duplicating? What effort, what things are you going through each time? Maybe every time you have a discovery call with a client, I'll get to discovery calls in a minute, but you send them an email, or you send them a follow-up, or you send them a booking link. Can we automate that? And for me, automation is anything that no human should be doing. Because more often than not, everyone goes, oh, I'm too busy, I need help, I'm going to outsource, and I'm going to get a VA. And then they suddenly become like a people manager. And they're no longer just running their business, they're also becoming management. So number one, get clear on what it is that you're doing. Number two, let's look at what we can automate. So really, really clear systems for anybody. I'm going to use coaching as an example because I work with coaches and therapists and online service-based businesses. But the one thing that you really need is you need some kind of automated calendar booking system. If you speak with clients, I want to make sure you are not manually trying to line up calendars at all. I want you to have a system that, and they don't have to be expensive at all. I mean, super, super cheap here, but you need.
And can I just stop you there? When I met you, you were like a standout at finding like systems and tools that were like inexpensive. And I was so impressed by that. I was like, this chick, how does she find this shit? This is amazing.
Yeah. I truly believe that there are things that you should invest in your business and things that you shouldn't. And we don't go with the shiny objects. Like for me, I prioritize working with my coach, with my mentor. And that for me is like a game changer, because that knowledge I can't find. I could spend hours piecing it together from Google and things.
Yep.
I also strongly believe that we shouldn't be spending money on support, like a team, when there is a system that can do it for us. So that's what automate. So calendar booking system, absolutely essential. You need to be able to book calls in. You don't need to be juggling time zones. You need ways to automatically send location follow-up reminders, like be all and end all. You also need an email nurture system. You absolutely need to be gathering leads in your business, regardless of what type of business you've got. You need to be attracting those leads, you need to be managing them, and you need to be looking after those leads in a timely manner. Other things that I use as a coach, I need to be able to invoice my clients. So I need some kind of payment system. So again, I use those payment systems, collect payments, because a lot of people are like, well, I don't want to pay the fees. But actually the time it takes you to manually reconcile what goes into your bank account with your accounting system, that's cost you more than the fees.
I know, it's crazy. I had this conversation with someone the other day. I was like, so how do you chase up a $70 invoice? Because I wouldn't bother with that. Like I wouldn't, that's an automation thing.
Yeah.
And she was like, oh, I have to follow. I was like, what is happening? No.
Yeah. So just automate anything that doesn't need to be done by a human. And then, because you did task number one and you wrote down everything, then have a look at the other tasks, the tasks that need a human touch, and decide which ones fill you with joy. Like I geek out on tech, and that normally puts the heebie-jeebies into most people. But if there's a job that needs a system, then I'm going to cling to that like a life raft. And most people would be like, hell no, pass that over. Copywriting for me is one of those things that is like, I write my own copy because I know my clients so well. I know my message so well. But if I had a choice between setting up a funnel, setting up a system, or writing copy, I would choose the funnels every time.
Yeah.
So what's your genius zone? Like, what do you like doing? Hold on to those. And then what else needs doing? So if tech is not your thing, then you really ought to consider outsourcing the tech. If copywriting is not your thing, outsource the copywriting. If website design is not your thing, outsource the web design. If graphics are not your thing, outsource that. But
And know when to do it as well, because if you're not outsourcing the web design early on, it's going to be like 12 months later and you still haven't done it. And that is not a good place to be in either.
Yeah. But if that's an area of strength for you, don't feel that that has to go, because I love building websites. I do that for my clients. I love creating logos and brands. So that's something that I hold on to. I also love tech, but I have a tech VA in my business because I am totally aware of the fact that I've now trained her up. She's absolutely amazing to do things exactly how I want to.
Right.
I don't need to be doing those things in my business, because every minute I spend doing that is a minute away from helping my clients with like my teaching, my coaching, my training, my one-to-one. But that's the order. So automate first. And when it comes to choosing systems, decide what you need a system to do. Just because the big names have got like bells and whistle systems, and there are a lot out there, don't be confused or overwhelmed into thinking that that's what you need. That first task, decide what it is that you do on a day-to-day basis. Then decide what you need a system to do. So if you don't need to tag and segment your audience, then you don't need to go for a bells and whistles email automation system. You don't need a massive CRM. You don't need to be paying hundreds and hundreds for a course platform just because it's got email with it or a landing page with it. There's things that we can do. And then the final task to simplify your business is to ditch the stuff that doesn't need to be done at all.
That's the hardest part.
I know, but that's why working with a coach is so good, because they'll call you out on that.
Oh,
I literally had a client yesterday who said, I could sell sand in the Sahara, but you call me out on the things that don't need to be done. Thank you. That was her message to me. And I said, look, do you mind if I share that testimonial? And she went, no, not at all. I mean it from the bottom of my heart. That is the weight in gold. Like when you work with a coach, when you work with a mentor, it may feel like a cost. It may feel like an investment, but actually when you look at how much time you're wasting, how many things that you're doing, how much client-facing revenue you could be generating in that time, because you're trying to figure everything out yourself. You're justifying everything to yourself. You're not clear on what you should be doing, and no one is calling you out on the things that you're doing that are keeping you busy.
I think the biggest mistake that I made at the start of my business was not investing in myself, because I was trying to figure everything out myself and it didn't work. And then there was like a penny drop, a mic drop moment where I was like, hang on. And I know the second that I invested in my very first coach, that was a turning point in my business, and my business, like the trajectory was huge.
Yes.
I'll never forget that. And I was like, you dum-dum, why didn't you do this sooner? Like, why? Like struggling with everything. It was just, I can't even believe I'm saying this out loud.
But I think a lot of people get burned as well. And that's very real. So I remember, I was talking about this to some of my clients and explaining to them, I got to 6 figures in my business very quickly. We were like 0 to 6 figures in 9 months, and we were multi-6 figures by 12. And I was just doing everything on my own. It is possible. It is possible to do that. But what I want for everyone is for your business to be sustainable. So then I invested in my first ever coach. And I invested $10,000, a lot of money, not cheap. And I've shared this story publicly. She ran off with my money. And I didn't get the coaching. I had sessions booked, sessions cancelled, promised a refund, completely ghosted. A huge lesson learned. And when I asked about, well, how can I pursue this? Because I paid by bank transfer because it was a genuine trust thing. So I hadn't paid by my credit card. The bank said we can do nothing about this because it's not a fraudulent payment. But obviously there was a breach of contract there. They said, well, you can pay us. And it was going to cost something like, I don't know, $5,000 to pursue. And I was just like, I feel really burnt. And for a lot of people, you may have made bad investments. that's business. That's okay. It becomes a problem when we don't learn from that. So
Yeah.
I looked at that and it was
Like
10 times.
relationships.
Yeah, but I could have said, right, all coaches are awful. I'm never going to do that again. I'm going to figure things out on my own. And I could have just, I could have allowed that one bad experience. I'd like to say there was only one. They then went on to invest in somebody else who's not immediately after, an Australian coach. It was a guy this time. And I was like, well, maybe the girl thing didn't work. Maybe I should try the guy thing. And I invested money, and I very, very quickly realized there was a misalignment there. And I think I'd done that because there was a fear that I must do this, I must work with somebody, I must invest. But I had the discernment then to stand my corner and I ask to break that contract, because what was promised was not what was being delivered, and it was completely out of alignment. I could have allowed that one to stop me from going forward. But since then, I work with my coach now. I've re-signed with my coach now, and the relationship is really beautiful. So please, if you are looking for coaching in your business, which Hayley and I highly recommend, don't allow a bad experience to tarnish that. Do your due diligence, really, really find out. And it comes down to that ADD, find out what it is that you're doing in your business. Where are your blind spots? What do you want help with? And don't give up. The help is out there. Just because you can't find it with one coach doesn't mean that you won't. But when you find your person, hold on.
Oh, baby.
Hold on to your person, and they will be there to cheer you on. I've had some of my clients working with me now for 3.5 years.
Yeah, I'm the
because they
same.
know that value.
Yeah. And when people find you as well, they trust you, and they will everything you do, they will come along, and they will, because they're your people. And there's plenty of people in this world to be your people. And I think success is open for everyone, and there's more than enough to go around. So in saying that, Emma, how can people connect with you? How can we learn more from you? Where do you hang out the most? What have you got to offer in terms of, I just want to not pay you, but I just want to get something that you can help me. I want to stalk you. How can I stalk you?
Do stalk me. So I have a group over on Facebook, Success Simplified, which is my free group for helping coaches, therapists, service-based businesses to go from 0 to 6 figures plus in their businesses the uncomplicated way. That's where I share my tips and my tricks and my training. So you're more than welcome to come and find me there. And if you'd like to try out some of the things that I've mentioned, then obviously I've got the resource that Hayley will share in the show notes here. But come and find me on Emma Johnson & Co. everywhere. So emmajohnsonandco.com is my website, and at Emma Johnson & Co. on Facebook, Instagram, Pinterest, you can find me.
Beautiful. I love chatting with you, Emma. Thank you so, so much for joining me today. And I know that our listeners will also get the same benefit. So thank you. I have had a pleasure.
Oh, thank you. It's been an absolute blast.